3, 2, 1. Welcome back to the Has-Beens, presented by 10K Takes, brought to you always by the Chill Boys. And you can go on www.chillboys.com, and listeners, you can type in HB15 to get 15% off your first order from the Chill Boys. Get your underwear, socks made out of bamboo. And we do have a special guest in-house for this episode. His name is Ray Brice from Michigan Tech. Played at Michigan Tech. He's still playing some pro hockey right now. We'll get to him later, but I am joined by Trevor, Olson, Jack Mason, and Veech, Max Veech. It's good to have you guys on. We haven't seen Olson and Veech for a little while, so this will be a fun episode for us. Let's get into our weekend recap, brought to you by Beauty Status. And folks, Beauty Status is an authentic Minnesota hockey brand. T-shirts, head covers, stickers for the man cave, flags, polos. They've got it all. Good Minnesota hockey stuff for all the fans out there. Go and check out Beauty Status on all socials. Their website is www.beautystatushky.com. Ols, what'd you get up to on the weekend?
Yeah, I've been on a little 3-week hiatus from the Has-Beens. I appreciate you guys bringing me back with open arms. Shelby, the fiance, and I made a huge life decision. We bought a house up in White Bear Lake, Minnesota. And it's been an absolute grind the past 3 weeks. I've been working on that thing pretty consistently. So again, this past weekend, I was up there. I had my family down and we were painting. We did all the painting above the wood floors that are getting refinished this week. So we had to put in a big shift on the old paint roller.
Travis has got a new name, Bob the Builder.
Yeah, Bob the Builder. Hey, I sent a text to you guys, but I'll say it to everybody else. If you ask me to paint your house, I will tell you to eat shit and die. And it's nothing against our friendship. I just don't ever want to pick up a roller again. So if you guys need help doing demolition or anything like that, would love to help you. Paint's a no-go for me. Yeah,
I was going to ask you, also, you've done a bunch of different things. What are some of the things where you're like, I'm never doing that again? Okay. Now, you said painting, but was there other things?
You know what? The demo of the bathrooms was really fun. Obviously, you take out the sledgehammer. But did you guys know on older houses, when they tile bathroom floors, that they do it with cement? Did you guys know that?
I did not know.
So when you bust out all the walls and the last thing you have to do is rip up that tile flooring and you get a crowbar in there and you start to try and pry some out, well, it goes tile, cement, then the wiring, and then more cement. And when it's whatever it is, 45-foot square foot bathroom or whatever the hell it is of cemented tile, and you spend 4 hours with a sledgehammer and a fucking crowbar and a hammer, and you try and figure out a way to pull that up. And then once you get it up, the cement's all crumbled and it's just sitting in the middle of your bathroom and you don't know how to get rid of it. That's easily number 2. Painting still sucks. Number 1, most hated thing in the world. But if you have cemented bathroom floors, I suggest you walk into oncoming traffic.
And you were definitely wearing full respirator doing this by the OSHA rules, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely right. Not. I'm freaking sledgehammer and then I literally pull up piece of cement tile, and it's honest to God this big and it weighs like 40 pounds and you got to carry it to the garage because you don't have it's the worst thing in the world. Oh, that's funny.
Just breathing in all the pesticides, mucking up a house.
Oh yeah. It's you walk out of there and everybody's, oh, don't pick your nose, that shit's gross. Well, when you work on a house and you hammer your nose and you're looking for some gold, you got dust in there, you got paint, you got old cement particles, and you're just digging in there for gold, and it comes out gray and black. It's just hideously awful.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, that's why they don't make bathrooms like that anymore, because they realize, you know what, maybe in 30 years people want to redo this bathroom, so we're gonna make it a little easier to take apart.
Yeah, if I ever find that again, I'm putting fucking vinyl laminate right over the top of it. I don't care if it's lumpy, bumpy, any of that shit. I ain't taking it out.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Well, the listeners are definitely up to date on your house stuff. You know, they've been aware of what you've been doing. It's good to hear from you, though, to hear your words, because they've just been hearing from Mase and I, which is pretty much what you've been saying.
Yeah, you know, it's good to be back. It's good to be back in front of the old camera. It's a nice needed break from the house. Like I said earlier to Mase, I can't physically be there right now, which is huge, because I'd want to be doing something. So it's nice to get away and you know, buying a house is awesome and it's your space and all that stuff, but it also sucks ass sometimes too.
For sure. Well, Mase, what did you get up to on the weekend?
So I didn't have too exciting of a weekend. Friday, I went back home for a little bit after work, had some dinner. But then I ended up having to hop back on work and work till about 2 a.m. And then Saturday, I was pretty exhausted, didn't really want to do anything. So I just invited the fellas over. We hung out, had some beers, played some board games. And then Sunday, me and my sister went to the Wild game, hit Casetas beforehand. You know the drill.
Otto.
Oh, yeah.
What was your order?
I got a slice of their special, which was Canadian bacon, green peppers, and onions. And then I got a slice of their sausage.
Teabag me. That sounds incredible.
Both were phenomenal. I hadn't had Casetas in probably a year, and I missed it.
They do it right there, that's for sure.
Oh, yeah. I mean, $4 for a slice that's bigger than my face. Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Well, that's, some Casetas and some work. Not a bad weekend, Mase. I like it. We're growing up.
Casetas was the go-to for us during the state tournament back when I was nasty. I do have to bring that up. I saw the Youth Hockey Hub tweet out an old stat line for your boy, Olson, scoring an overtime winner. So I figured I'd jump on that quickly in the episode here.
He paid him to write that article. Don't let him fool you. He paid those guys off every year.
Oh yeah, 100%. He's sending them Venmos like, "Hey, release the article." Veech, what'd you get up to on the weekend?
Yeah, not too much. Went up to Giants Ridge with the girlfriend's family, dad's side. Had a little late Christmas get together with them, and then went snowboarding one day and ended up popping the question, pulled the trigger, and got a fiance. And I guess I'm a fiance now, so I'm trying to follow Ols's example and live the big boy life.
Man, I'm surprised you're already calling her your fiance. It took me forever to figure that out. It's like my girlfriend or my fiance. I still get it mixed up all the time. It's pretty sweet though. Unreal.
Twice on the phone already today. I said girlfriend, and she looked right back at me. So I'm getting used to it, but I've been trained at least earlier today already.
So if you guys are at the bar, and someone's like, "Hey, Veech, how's it going? Oh, who's this? Your girlfriend?" Or are you gonna be like, "No, that's my fiance"?
I don't know if I'll correct them. I'll just I'll go with the flow kind of guy. Just yeah, and then I'll let her show the ring because she just loves doing that lately. So.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I would probably do something like, "Oh yeah, this is my fiance Shelby," or something like that. But I wouldn't be like, "No, this is my fiance."
No. You call her by her right name. It's fiance.
You get my wife's name right.
Christina. Well, pretty exciting weekend for you, Veech. I mean, that's
it was a big one.
That's got to be a weight lifted off your shoulders. How long are you planning that? Did you ask her father beforehand? Were you thinking about it? Did you have the ring for a while? Or did you just buy the ring and be like, I got to get this thing out of my hands?
Oh, there's a whole long story to it. I'll try and summarize it as best I can here. She's been wanting to get married for a long time. We've been together for almost 4 years now, so it's been cooking a little bit. Her parents and I have talked a couple of times about it, so I already knew I had their blessing going down with it. I had gotten probably 6 or 7 different, quote unquote, different rings from either her or her friends sending me ideas, and they were all identical. So it was pretty easy to pick it out. Got in touch with the jeweler that's actually out in Boston, and I got the ring expecting to propose like really quick. Opened the box up just to double check that it was right. Was not right. I had got white gold instead of the yellow gold that she wanted, so I had to wait another 6 weeks for a new ring to come.
Oh no!
No.
Yeah. I was gonna propose just before Christmas, and there was a little snafu there. Something else happened that ended up, not working out. And so, I didn't want to be the cliche propose on Christmas guy. Here's your present, and everybody kind of laughs at you a little bit. And no shade to anybody that's gotten, proposed to or proposed on Christmas. Like, to each their own. I always just have a nice little chuckle about that, especially if it's just that present. But yeah, I've had it on a couple of different walks that we've taken, and it was like snowing or the dog ran away or something just didn't happen. So. Yeah, I've had it, but it's been a long time coming.
Good patience on you. I got it, and I'm like, I'm getting this fucker out of my pocket right now.
Oh yeah, that takes some patience for sure. I would have been like, fuck it, I don't care if it's snowing.
It was raining on our day.
Hey, they say good luck if it's raining on your wedding day, so it's only one step in the right direction if it's on your engagement day.
Yeah. Well, I can't really top that. I can't really top that weekend. To be honest, I had another kind of boring weekend, but Saturday I woke up at 6:30 a.m. to go ice fishing with my dad and his buddies. And I got back at 7:30 p.m. So 13 hours ice fishing. I think we fished for a total of 3 hours on the trip. The rest of the trip was, getting things ready, loading the truck, unloading it, driving out to the spot. We drilled maybe fucking 100 holes, and they've got all these electronics, to check if fish are around or and whatnot. Oh. So we're just drilling holes all over this lake. We went to 3 different lakes, by the way, drilling holes everywhere. Can't see fish anywhere. Fucking no fish. Jesus. Gotta go to the next spot. Fished for 3 hours. I'm gone for 13, didn't fish for 10 hours. But we caught 2 fish the entire time. So we got our absolute ass kicked. But nonetheless, it was a good time. And I was joking with these guys because they're more so like fishermen and ice fishermen rather than, golfing or heading to the bar with friends for happy hour. They're on that other side. And I'm like, what do you guys think? What do you think costs more? Being the golf bar guy or being the outdoorsman, fisherman? Obviously they're like, oh, golf for sure. Golf bar guy for sure. I'm like, well, let's wait a second here. You've got maybe 200 jigs and hooks in your little tackle box. Each one costs $3 to $5. That's a lot of money in there. You've got my dad and his buddy. They each have 8 rods. Okay, that's a lot of money. The ice house that we had was big tent, a lot of money. We had a ranger to bring us out there, ton of money.
Vexlar,
the electronics, yeah, ton of money. So I'm like pointing this out, and they're like, yeah, fuck, you might be right. I'm like, yeah, I fucking am right. You guys are fucking think you're saving money fishing. You're spending so much money, like all this equipment and all this technology just to pull up a little fucking fish out of a hole, like it's hilarious to think, but that's part of why it's fun though, is like that's why golf's fun sometimes. You got your new wedges or something, you get a new ball or a new glove, some fucking your range finder, you got your app on your phone to show you how far away it is, where the wind's coming from, like that's part of the fun. So I can't blame them. I had a good time with them. We're drinking beers out there, of course. So I had a good time, but yeah, it was just hilarious. We fucking out there the whole day and fished for 3 hours, caught 2 fish the whole time. Like just hilarious.
How was the ice there? Because it was absolute dog shit where we were up in Bawabik. It probably had 5-6 inches of slush on top of just shit.
Yeah.
ice.
there's a lot of slushy areas. It was actually pretty hard where we were at. We almost got stuck once in the slush, but yeah, I'm wondering. I'm asking my dad and his buddy. I'm like, how is there slush on this lake? It's been negative for 3 straight months. Like, it doesn't make sense. They're like, yeah, well, the snow. It snows and then the snow insulates the bottom and then it gets slushy beneath the snow because it's hotter and then it turns to slush. Makes sense, but whatever.
Well, when you're pumping 100 holes in there and you're pulling up all that water, you're just adding weight on top of it.
Yeah, 100%. And the ice fishing game's always funny because if you do find fish, like, you don't tell anyone because you don't want everyone to go there. So, like, we didn't catch a fish all day, and my dad and his buddy are getting calls from their buddies also fishing, and they're like, "Have you how you guys doing?" And they're like, "Oh, we're fucking hammering them on this lake right here. We're fucking just killing them, just lying to them." But yeah, no, and then actually, Friday I did go to the golf simulator with Dixon and Brock here. It was actually kind of fun.
Didn't you go? Did you shoot pistols too, or was that just Dixie?
Yeah, I did shoot pistols yesterday. Yep. Oh. Went out and brought my pistol out and tried to fire it. Because we were having the talk. One of our buddies. We go to movies here in Grand Forks, and one of our buddies brings this gun to the movie because he's like, "You ever see what happened in the Batman film? I'm not fucking letting that happen to me." So he's always got his gun, and I'm like sitting there like, yeah, you'd feel better with the gun, but like as soon as you stand up and this bad guy is firing at the movie theater, you've got to be calm enough to like grab your gun and like aim it and then shoot. And like these things are fucking hard to aim. Like they're not accurate. I mean, they are accurate if you're good at shooting them, but it's so hard to aim. Imagine yourself trying to aim at a live shooter with that adrenaline going. I mean, you're like,
oh, you got to be 20 feet away to have any sort of accuracy unless you got like a long barrel on it.
And then even if you do take the shot, I mean, if you miss, this guy sees where the shot comes from and you're getting a bunch of bullets sprayed at you. So like, if you're the guy pulling out the gun, you better have a fucking good shot. So we were talking about that. So that's why we brought the pistols out and shot them yesterday. And fuck, those things are so tough to hit a target. Like, it's so hard, man. Like, after that, like, before we were going there, I'm like, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to go to a movie theater with my gun. For sure, I'll hammer this guy. And then I'm sitting there with no pressure at all, shooting at a target just straight up, like missing it. I'm like, I ain't shooting the guy in the theater. Fuck, I'm just ducking.
Yeah.
Jesus
But yeah, no, that's why we went out and shot yesterday, because I was like, fuck, I gotta dial this thing in if something does happen, Yeah, but we'll move on from the weekend. That was my weekend there. We'll move on from that. Kind of a dark subject, but we'll get into our predictions here. I'm going to start us off with Western at Nodak Saturday night. It's a pick'em. Anyone want to start us off?
Western,
no doubt. You got 3 of the top 6 scorers in the nation. Ryan McAllister, 10 goals. Poland with 19 goals. It's impossible to contain those guys. I don't care that North Dakota's got a better power play. I don't care that they have a better penalty kill. Western is too potent, and the only time that they lose is when they get outscored, and I don't see North Dakota doing that.
Yeah, what he said.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's you make a few good points, but what I'm thinking is UND's going to lose Friday, and there ain't no way they're losing Saturday. So I'm going North Dakota Saturday.
I kind of like that logic. I might go Nodak too, even though Western's kind of a powerhouse. I'll take it too.
Hey,
we'll go 50-50.
We just went to Kalamazoo and took 5 out of 6, so it's not bad.
That's why I think Western's got a little itch. They got they're coming.
They do. It's going to be a scary matchup, that's for sure. We'll move on to the next one here. Duluth at Omaha Friday night, and Duluth is favored by 0.5, half a goal.
Oh,
so if we go into overtime, Omaha wins the bet.
No, only if it goes.
No.
Only if it goes.
Only if it's shootout.
Overtime still counts.
Does it?
Overtime still counts, but then the tie. If they go to a shootout,
but Omaha, both teams get a point if they go to overtime, right?
It's 2-1.
2-1.
So you don't get the full 3 points if you win in overtime.
Correct.
So these spreads are different. This is basically saying that Duluth and Omaha are the same. Oh, this is tough. I think in the betting world, it doesn't matter if it goes to overtime or a shootout. If Duluth wins, they win the -1.5.
Really?
Yes.
I don't know about shootout. I guess I haven't had that issue with only a half point. I've gone full points that go into a shootout, but it was already decided before that, obviously.
Well, you know what? Here's where we're going. If it goes to overtime, Omaha wins.
Okay.
Oh, I hate that.
I'll go last.
I'm going UMD as a shock to absolutely freaking nobody here. But they just beat a ranked team in Bemidji who plays a crazy suffocating style. UMD and Omaha both give up 2.8 goals a game, so it's on the lower end of things. That favors UMD's style. I have like 3 stats I have to read to you guys right now because UMD has had, pretty garbage stats for the first half of the year, but they're 6 for 12 over the last 5 games on the power play and 9 for 26 since November 12th. So 35%. And their penalty kill is 34 for 36 since November 11th. So we're talking about a really good team as of the last few games that they've played. And that's against Denver, Bemidji, who are both ranked. I don't know if they count the St. Thomas exhibition game in there. So you're talking about some pretty good competition. So when you're going against Omaha and it's another conference opponent and it's somebody that you want to catch in the standings, I think they're going to have a little bit of extra gas. So despite the fact that they're favored somehow on the road as a lower pairwise seed and lower in the NCHC, I'm taking them.
I'm gonna also ride with Veech here just because of what he said. And no, I mean, I've been paying attention to the NCHC, and obviously I paid attention to Duluth, and they have started to turn around a little bit. And to me, a Saturday night game for the home team is a must win. To me, a Friday night game is more of a winnable game for the away team in my eyes. I mean, it doesn't always happen that way, but that's why I'm going Duluth. I think Omaha will definitely show up Saturday, but I think Duluth's coming in hot on Friday.
I do like the reasoning behind those, but I think Omaha pushes it to overtime on Friday, and maybe Duluth gets away on Saturday. I don't know. Being at home on a Friday night, I mean, Duluth is going to come in with energy, but I don't think Omaha is going to be too quick to give it up.
Mase, if you're telling me I can walk away from the weekend with 4 points as a UMD fan, regardless of if I lose this bet on Friday, I'm taking it. I'd happily lose the bet to take 4 points.
Hell yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to agree with Mase. I think Omaha's not a pushover. I mean, they are a little bit, but again, it's the NCHC. The only thing that kind of deters me away from that is because Duluth, kind of like North Dakota, is known for their second half, tightening the ship. It kind of scares me. I think Duluth will grab one, but just because we're on a podcast, I'm going to go the opposite of what you two think. So,
hey, also on this topic of Omaha and Duluth, did you guys see that shootout goal by that Omaha guy?
No.
Oh my God! I wish I had it pulled up. I saw it on Twitter. It was absolutely insane. He actually it might have been like a 2-on-1 or something, and he caught the pass. There's like a puck that was like 4 feet in the air. He tapped it over to his forehead and then tapped it in the air in the net. It was insane. I don't know who the guy was, but after that, recently? I was like, fuck. Yeah, it was just recent. It was like this last week or the week before. I can't remember, but
who were they playing? Do you know?
No, it was in practice. It was a practice video.
Oh.
But it it was fucking wild. Like, it was like some skill that, like, I didn't know Omaha had. So that'll help Olson Mase's bet there on the Omaha side of things, maybe. But
all I'm going to say is I did a lot of nasty shit in practice, and it did not transition to games. I scored almost 80% of my shootouts against Cam Johnson and Zane McIntyre, and I scored like 6 goals all 4 years at school. So.
Okay, we'll move on. Ohio State at Michigan Friday night. Same deal. Michigan minus half a goal. So if it goes to overtime, Ohio State wins.
Mase, I want to hear you go first on this one.
Okay. 2 good teams. Michigan's playing at home at Yost. I mean, I've never been there, but it looks like a fucking wild arena. It looks fun. From what we talked about in previous weeks, I think I remember hearing that Michigan has some decent goal scorers on their team, and they're at home, so I'm taking Michigan, especially on a Friday night.
Yeah, that Fantilli kid that people are talking about, pretty decent.
Yeah. And Hughes. Fantilli and Hughes, they're not bad. Yeah, this one's tough for me because Ohio State just I think they just shredded up Michigan State last weekend.
Humped them.
Yep, 3-1 and 6-0. And Michigan State's a pretty good team this year, so Ohio State seems to be rolling right now. But you all know how it is when you get a guy like Fantilli and Luke Hughes back in the locker room. That team's feeling pretty confident in themselves. I don't know. I'm going to take Ohio State here. I think it might be a tie and go into overtime. So that's why I'm going to go Ohio State.
Oh, man. So Ohio State, for those that don't know, they have the best penalty kill in the nation right now. It's at 90.9%, so 91% they're running at, which is unheard of in college hockey, in my opinion. I think Michigan has too many scorers for that to continue. I think Michigan takes it, specifically, like you said, Fantilli coming off of, World Juniors, when you're hearing about Bedard and just basically Bedard, and he wants some of the shine for himself back. And now that we're into college hockey and into some big games, it's 6v6 in terms of pairwise standings, 8 versus 8 and 8 versus 6 in terms of USCHO and USA Today. So they're really close. I expect it to be a really good game. I think just Michigan's got too much scoring power.
Yeah, Michigan has screwed me multiple times in our predictions this year, which means they have to win at some point. So I'm going Michigan by 0.5 of a goal. I think they win 6-3 probably. That's easy for me.
I like it. All right, we'll move on to the next one here. Bemidji State at Bowling Green Friday night, over under at 4.5 goals.
Under.
Hey, we were just talking pre-show about, Georgia TCU. Obviously, that game's going on now. It'll be done by the time this pod is out. We were all saying that it's so obvious that it's going to be the under because of Georgia's suffocating defense. And I think this is the exact opposite of that. I mean, this should be an under matchup. Anytime that Bemidji's in there, it's under. Bemidji's given up 2.4 goals a game. Bowling Green is 3.21, so we're already at just under 6 there. So it's above the underline that we've got set. And people don't know this, but Bowling Green has the second leading scorer in the nation in Austin Swankler, I think it is.
Swanky.
15 and 19 for 34 points on the year. I think he comes out there. I think Bowling Green gets a win, specifically because Bemidji is kind of down licking their wounds right now after UMD kind of gave it to them on Saturday there. So I think it goes over.
All right, I like it. A couple over-unders. I'm going to ride with Olson here. Under.
Under. Under. Bemidji game, it's like the Army Navy game that goes under for 16 straight years. Bemidji under, hammer it. It's a religion.
Hey, history's on your side. I have to go out on a limb here. I think that Swankler has to come out against Bemidji. Although Bemidji's goalie has been just stout all year. So yeah, I mean, under is the smart move, but I'm not a smart guy.
I like it. Good move.
I think I'm going to go with over as well. I like the reasoning you brought. I don't hate it.
And it's more fun rooting for the over. That's why.
It is.
That's why I slammed the over in the TCU Georgia game.
It's going to be physical. It's going to be intense. I mean, it's going to be.
Goals are fun to watch. I want goals.
Yeah. So we've got 3 Friday night games here to watch, and then the Nodak Western on Saturday is the only game on Saturday. So just so you guys remember. Now I guess that's good for the predictions. Let's move on to the fun stuff brought to you by Butter Golf. And we'll start off with the nail gun of the week. Does anyone want to start us off?
I can go, which I think will probably be the quite obvious choice in DeMar Hamlin. Guy's heart stopped on the field, was given CPR, taken to the hospital, intubated, basically put to sleep while they were trying to figure out what happened. Guy just transferred to Buffalo Hospital today. And was given the all good, basically. Well, not the all good, but obviously the good enough to move facilities. And obviously you saw the respect and love that was given to him across the NFL and really across the world. So that's an easy nail gun of the week for me.
I agree with that. And, there's another guy, being a hockey podcast, that we can reference there. Chris Pronger had something similar happen to him back in the day, ended up coming back from it and finishing out a Hall of Fame career. So fingers crossed, DeMar is able to recover enough to the point where he's able to get back out there, do what he loves. And, best case scenario, he has one hell of a career to finish it out too.
And I mean, not to mention the fact that the first thing he said when he woke up is, "Did we win?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit.
Football guy.
That's sick.
Football guy.
And you know what? T. Higgins will never hear this podcast, but the wide receiver for the Cincinnati Bengals took a lot of shit for what happened during that play because he just happened to be the one that was part of that play. It was a freak accident, and there were a ton of people that ripped into T. Higgins for causing this injury.
Those people should go fucking kill themselves is what they should do, actually. Those people have no place to blame T. Higgins for that. I mean, come on, man. Like, even if it was like a head-to-head hit, it's a football game. Like, half the time those guys, they're supposed to kill each other. Like, it's a quick game. It happens quick. Like, no one's out there trying to murder someone, all right? Like, let's take it easy.
Yeah.
There was no intent there. It's a freak incident. You can't control that.
NFL is a scary game. Like, we talk about the concussions and stuff all the time, but that hit was a freak accident compared to, remember, I forget his name, Burficit.
Perfect. Vontez perfect.
Vontez perfect, yep.
Yeah. He was trying to hurt people, like, consistently on a daily basis. Like,
oh yeah,
that hit that kept going around of Juju Smith-Schuster, and that's an aggressive, like, somebody trying to kill somebody. T. Higgins had nothing to do with that.
Well, Antonio Brown was never the same after that Vontez perfect hit. Yeah. That if you go back in the tapes and you like watch his personality, that is the pinpoint moment where you can see it change. From then on, he was never the same guy.
Yeah, I don't like talking about that because that is so messed up. It's 100% CTE what Antonio Brown has. Like, you don't just turn into that person without something happening in the brain.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, that's a good call. Who wants to go next? I mean, if you guys are having a tough time, I can go, but I do have like 4 of them. So
all right, I got one, and it's a pretty easy one for me as a Bulldogs fan. Nail gun of the week for me is Jason Shagaby. Broke TJ Oshie's scoring record of 241 points. He's currently got 246 and counting right now. So If you don't know, he plays for Warroad, same school that TJ Oshie was playing for. That's why that's kind of significant there. And, TJ Oshie, pretty good name, I guess you could say. Also part of the Green Bay Gamblers, I believe. But as a freshman, 30 goals, sophomore, 24 in a COVID-shortened season, junior last year, 27. And he's got 37 points in 11 games already this year. So pretty decent kid. And he's going to come play for the Bulldogs. So love him. I saw you trying to sway him online, Gage. I won't stand for that nonsense. Come to the Bulldogs, play with the big boys. Jason. No. It's too late.
It's not too late, Jason. No, it's close to home, Jason. It's a lot closer to home.
We're a big family here, and I'm a big fan of the kid. Last year, watching the state hockey tournament, he did end up losing to some future teammates on Hermantown and both of the Plant boys, but all three of them UMD commits.
Oh, did they really? What was the score of that game?
I don't remember, actually. It was in the championship game for single A there, but it was a great game. I think all three of them played extremely well, and it's going to be wild to see them playing together in a couple of years with Bulldog sweaters on.
I was going to mention Shagabe. He was actually one of my nail gun of the week as well.
I knew I had to beat you to it.
Yeah, I was gonna mention him strictly for the fact of like how sick is that last name.
Oh, great.
If he makes it to the National, he's going to sell so many jerseys. That's such a sick last name, Shagabe.
Man, my dad has said 100 times he wished he named me something funky because my chances of going to the show are just that much better.
Oh yeah, 100%. If you got a cool name, chance of going far in life is way better.
Oh, Nikolai, Dimitri, any of those names, especially if you've got eyes in it for hockey, it just sounds like you're a foreign kid, and it sounds like you got big play potential.
Growing up, I just knew I was fucked because there was another Jack Mason at Egan. So I wasn't the only one. So
just another guy with the same exact name.
Yeah, better looking at me, better at hockey. I mean, put me in the dirt.
Hey, he's not as good at fucking podcasting as you are, Mase. So you got that going.
Let's go. For my nail gun this week, I did have this guy a couple weeks ago as a nail gun, but I saw this the other day. It's gonna be Mike Leach again. There's a video of this kicker. It was a home game, and they had like a competition at halftime where they like have a student kick a field goal for a scholarship or something. And this guy goes up and puts it right down the middle of the uprights. Leach goes and fucking recruits the kid, brings him on the team. Guy doesn't miss a field goal for the rest of his 4 years or something like that.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's an unreal story.
Dude saw him at halftime. He's like, holy shit, this guy is a boot.
This guy's just butter.
Coach Leach is always recruiting, just making sure, like, let's see these guys kick.
He's like, man, he took one step, kicked it, and it was right down the upright.
If I was a big-time college football or NFL football coach, I would literally just be walking around, like, soccer fields and shit, just looking at people booting the ball. Because that's where you, like, finding a good kicker is what can separate you sometimes.
Oh yeah, 100%. My high school had someone from the girls soccer team come and be the kicker.
Really?
Yeah.
Was she nasty?
Yeah, she had a fucking leg. It was kind of funny.
I always tried practicing kicking, but I was always good at punting, but the kick off the ground, I'd always like get shin splints after kicking it like twice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Just killed. But no, nice nail gun of the week there, Mase. I'll start us off on mine here. My first one, Cristiano Ronaldo going to Saudi Arabia. He's got now in Saudi Arabia, it is illegal to live for any person, any average civilian. It's illegal to live with someone of the opposite sex if you are not married. Well, Saudi Arabia's rule that's been forever since they've been a country, they just made an exception for Cristiano Ronaldo to live with a girlfriend. So he's the only guy in Saudi Arabia that can live with a girl that he's not married to. That's pretty fucking nails.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. How crazy is that? And then the team that he signed with in Saudi Arabia, they had 850K followers before he signed. Now they have 10 million.
That's sick.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Talk about return on investment.
Yeah, like how ridiculous is that? You know how many jerseys they're selling right now? Like those little kids over there are just fucking sewing away.
Oh Jesus. Speaking of him though, did you see highlights of his first game playing over there for them?
No, I didn't.
Oh, dude, it looks like the Harlem Globetrotters. They are like,
Oh yeah.
I think, the government stepped in and said, you better let these guys have some scoring opportunities, because it didn't look like the same sport. We'll say that. And so if you have a chance to go look it up, I would say go look up those highlights, because it's something else, and they're trying to showcase that talent a little bit. But yeah, I mean, good for him, I guess.
I mean, they immediately went from a small market team to a fucking huge market team just because of that.
Yeah, definitely.
Timmy, that's only 6 in the last hour. Fucking hurry it up. You're not getting your lunch cookie.
Oh man.
Oh, that's bad, but it happens. So, and then my next one, I don't know if you guys saw this, but it's India's largest elephant that they have like held captive. It's like the oldest elephant, the largest. There's some stats on this elephant. It's killed 17 people and like done all these things. Like it's just insane. They have this massive, gigantic elephant just like chained up like it's a dragon in Game of Thrones, and this thing just murdered 17 people. There's a bunch of Indians outside like its cage, like celebrating. This thing's just it's unbelievable. It's like something straight off a movie, like an old like gladiator movie, but it's real.
Oh yeah, dude, I saw the video you posted. It looks straight out of that last Lord of the Rings movie. Maybe it was the second to last one.
100%.
Yeah, it did. It's just insane. I was like, that thing's real.
I thought Legolas was just gonna slide down.
Just bonk it right on top of the melon.
Gage, you're on one today. All of your topics today are just on a different level.
Gage is unhinged right now.
Oh, yeah.
And then
I got one final one here. I don't know how to pronounce her name. The senior associate athletic trainer for Army hockey team, Rachel. I don't know if it's Leahy or Lehigh.
Yes.
If you don't know, Eric Huss took a skate to the neck, a la like Richard Zednick or Clint Marichuk. Like it was a bad situation, a scary situation for him out there, and she was one of the first people out there, first responder. Got the wound under control and was with him all the way to the hospital. And it was because of her that he was able to, have it, become in a stable condition.
Yeah.
So, props to her and all the other athletic trainers that have gone through all of that education to react in those situations and being able to do so and, get him on the right path. And he's back with the team already. And it seemed like it was quick and clear cut. So that's another one that shouldn't go unnoticed.
For sure, a nail gun there, because it's one thing just to get taught how to do it. It's another thing to actually do it in real life when the time does come. I mean, you hope it never comes, right? Like I'd probably say 99% of athletic trainers never have to deal with that, but they probably all get taught it. So yeah, very nail gun. I had another one too, similar to that and similar to the Damar Hamlin thing. So what kept Damar Hamlin on the field alive was CPR, keeping the heart pumping. Well, there's a teacher in East Grand Forks that has taught over 200 students just this past year how to do CPR. So that's pretty nails. You never know when you're going to need it. It's probably a good thing to learn how to do. If you do take a class, pay attention, because you never know. I mean, it definitely can save someone's life if you're ever in that situation. So props to that nail gun teacher teaching that many students how to do CPR. And then my last one, just everyone's seen them, but Jordan Schmaltz just recently sent me a video of roided out mountain goats, and there's always I just wanted to shout out all of the roided out animals out there. Like there's always a picture you see, like, look at this pit bull, he's fucking jacked. Look at this ape, he's jacked, like look at this mountain goat, he's huge, like he's a bodybuilder. So I wanted to shout out all the all the roided out animals out there. Good props to you guys. I don't know how you did it, but without hands and weights and shit, no creatine, no pre-workout. They're doing it natural.
I thought you were going to start calling out players by name.
Yeah.
Hey, did we ever mention who started their first NFL game? Was it Brock Purdy's dad, or whose dad was it with the mega jaw? Did you guys see that guy?
I think it was Brock Purdy's dad, yeah.
This guy's he chews on fucking concrete. He chews on concrete. His he looks like the Crimson Chin. I wanted to send this in and have somebody bring it up because I forget who it was, but it was somebody, a starter. I thought it was Brock Purdy, but I can't remember if it was him or somebody else. But somebody started a game and they kept panning to the dad, and it was this guy chews on rusted nails and fucking small stones and boulders. And his I don't know what he does and why his chin is so defined, but somebody please find a picture or video of it because the guy's a fucking animal.
He goes to the landscaping store where you get mulch and rocks for your yard, and he's like, "Hey, looking to buy some quartz here from you guys." "Oh, what are you putting it on?" "No, it's just for my house. I chew on rocks. Look at his chin."
Yeah. Dude, I'm looking at Brock Purdy dad. I want to see if this is him. No, it's not Brock Purdy's dad. It's going to drive me nuts. I'll figure it out.
It's not Purdy's dad. That's the dad. Okay. I remember seeing Purdy's dad. I don't remember.
It's I can't remember if it was NHL. It was somebody's first game, or I'll figure it out and I'll send it in the group chat. And if we post a little picture of it and say this is the guy we're talking about, all I know is I saw the guy and I nearly spit my water out. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe this guy's fucking chin. It was elite.
While we're on the topic of hockey, nail guns, and parents, it just had a thought come back to my mind here. I want to shout out the two parents that were just caught making out like without a care in the world at last year's NHL draft, caught on camera. The kid, he had a little comment about it a couple of days later saying he hasn't heard it, like hasn't lived it down yet. So shout out to those two just on live
French
TV.
kiss making out just if you're in public, why are you tongue kissing? Like just give a little peck. Jesus.
I can't wait to see somebody one up it this year. That's what I was looking forward to.
That shit was so funny. I remember seeing that video when it came out, and oh god, that'd be so embarrassing for the kid.
Oh yeah.
Oh, so well, at least your parents like each other, you know.
Yeah, true.
Well, that'll conclude our nail guns of the week. Well done, fellas. Let's move on to the next topic here. Top 3 bang for your buck purchases that you can make. It could be food, it could be clothing, it could be a car, it could be a house, it could be anything. It could be a pack of gum. It could be, coaching lessons. It could be skiing somewhere, anything. So, and we can have the same. We can have the same ones. So we can have shared lists here.
Okay. So just to clarify, when we were talking about this pre-show, when you said bang for your buck, do you mean like things that you splurge on that are worth the money?
Yeah, I guess it could be either or. Like okay. You could, I guess I'll start off. I'll start us off with my first one. I can start us off. I was going to go a nice winter jacket. That's a good bang for your buck in my eyes because it's expensive, so it looks like it's not a good bang for your buck. But a nice winter jacket, as you all know, can last almost up to a lifetime. So to me, that is a hell of a bang for your buck because you can go out and buy a couple shitty jackets, but they won't last long. So if you buy a nice one and you spend the money, you're actually going to save money in the long term because you won't have to buy a new jacket type of thing.
I like that. I like it a lot.
My second one is definitely, like I gave you the example in that one earlier, but it's definitely underwear. I think if you buy yourself expensive underwear, it's a good bang for your buck because they last 10 times as long as the cheap Hanes underwear. So anyone looking to get underwear, you can visit Chill Boys, chillboys.com. They have underwear made out of bamboo, very good stuff at a good bang for your buck. And then my last one is definitely going to be the Little Caesars hot and ready $5 pizza.
Yeah.
I just got a pizza from Rhombus and Deeks, the past month or whatever. Nearly $30 for each pizza. $5 hot and ready, bang. I know it's not good, but it's a hell of a bang for your buck.
Is it still $5? Last time I checked, it was $7.99 with inflation.
Yeah, it might be $7.99, but I always just walk in there with a $5 bill and said I always thought it was $5, and then they end up giving it to me anyways.
That was Cam Johnson's. That was our go-to in college. $5 hot and ready. That's what we'd always get with the fucking crazy bread. That shit.
It's a hell of a bang for your buck. I mean, you can't find that much food for that price.
It's a great deal.
You cannot.
I guess I can build off of that one. Back when the $5 footlong was a thing, that's a steal. You go to Jimmy John's and Subway nowadays, it's $13 for a footlong and a chip. The $5 footlong at Subway was a massive deal and a phenomenal deal. I'm a big steak guy, love steaks. So this is where I'm going to actually pay a little extra to get the bang for my buck. You can get a $7 steak or whatever at Club Foods, and it's all right. It's average at best. But when you pay your top dollar, you're getting what you paid for, and I think the money's worth it in regards to a steak. So I kind of went backwards on that one, but again, it's my thoughts, so you can shut the fuck up. Lastly, I couldn't think of a third one. Like I've been trying to think. So I'm only going to go with two, unless something pops into my head here.
We can circle back if something pops in.
Yeah. Hit me back in a minute or two.
I got some pretty easy ones here. There's no brainers to me, and the number one no brainer in my mind is something you use every single day, maybe multiple times a day if you're a lazy piece of shit. But I fall into that category a lot of weekends. A bed. I'm talking your mattress, your sheets, your pillows, the whole setup. Go top of the line with everything. You use it more than anything else in your life. You want to be comfortable. There's nothing better than getting into a bed where it's just like an oasis. So there's nothing worse than getting into a bed where you got scratchy sheets or flat pillows or like too hard or too soft. Get what works for you and enjoy it every single night. And it is well worth any amount of money that you could throw at it. Like no
pick.
Doubt in my mind, that's one far and away.
That's an elite pick. Well done.
Two is, not everybody's cup of tea, but for me, I enjoy my time in the kitchen. I love cooking in there. That's my kind of creative outlet. I can kind of be a little bit healthier on occasion when I feel really ambitious. And there's nothing worse in the kitchen than having to use a shit knife. So buy some good knives that cut well, that stay sharp, that, you don't have to throw away every, 2-3 years and get a new set because it's bent or, too thin to hold up to whatever you're doing. A good set of knives goes a long way, and it makes like kitchen work, if you want to call it that, absolutely a pleasure. It's enjoyable. I love it. And they look good. If somebody comes over and you're cooking with them,
for sure,
they see a cool knife, that's something to brag about. They're going to be like, oh shit, where'd you get that? How much was it? It's a conversation piece. It's awesome.
Oh yeah. That's two birds in one stone. It's a nice decoration piece too.
100%. And then the last one is a topic that's been covered on the podcast before. Something that I will never cheap out on is toilet paper. If you're buying that single ply little, shit that you can see through, tissue paper or sandpaper that you find in a lot of the gas stations or malls or wherever it's trying to save a buck, you can just go kick rocks and, be a menace to society somewhere else. Buy the good stuff. Treat yourself. Like, I don't know what you're doing. You're living a lesser life and you're probably causing damage. You're getting poopy butthole and bleeding butthole. Don't do that to yourself. Buy the good toilet paper.
Now on the topic of toilet paper, that was a great one, Veech. I like that. But just to go off that topic, I just this morning, actually, I had myself a cup of coffee in the morning, and I had to go to Lowe's. I had to go to Lowe's to buy a roof rake, and I'm in Lowe's, and I'm like, oh, holy shit, I got a shit. So I ran to the shitter, and I'm not fucking kidding you. This was the thinnest toilet paper I've ever used in my life, by far. I had to pull out like a 10-foot strand and fold it 8 times before I could even feel comfortable with touching my butthole with my fingers there. So if you guys want to just go check out the thinnest toilet paper ever made in the world, just find your nearest Lowe's and just pop into the bathroom there. It's just incredible. I don't even know if it's like the United States of America government has to outlaw this toilet paper. It can't be legal.
Oh, we're going to the universal cell phone jack now because everybody's too frustrated with having to carry around 2 or 3 different ones of those. There should be mandated laws about quality of toilet paper. I believe that we can't afford some human decency at all places.
Mase, did you think of any?
All right. So originally, when I read this question, I read it backwards, so I did it wrong. But I got ones for the right way. So first thing, I've been living by this for years now. Good shampoo. I mean, ever since I switched to Aveda, I've never, ever even thought about switching again. Like, I mean, the difference, I get out of the shower and my hair feels like silk.
I respect that.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to hype up Aveda, but like, get some nice shampoo, get some nice conditioner. Like, you'll notice a difference in your hair. Next one, I love listening to music, love watching TV, but you got to have a nice speaker system. If you're buying a speaker system and you get like $150 sound bar with the subwoofer, you're getting what you pay for. And it's probably going to be shit sound, and it's worth the extra money to actually get a receiver, get 4 speakers and a subwoofer.
For sure.
And then the last one, I'm going with liquor.
Oh yeah.
Maybe in college it was nice to drink the $13 case of Busch Light or the $8 handle of Kharkov that tastes like you could put it in your car.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, now that if you're working, you got a little money, it's worth it just for the enjoyment. So you're not just sucking down motor oil the whole night. Like,
great choice. Wow.
Definitely.
Yeah, I like that as well. You cannot be cheaping out on that liquor. You'll pay for it the next day. I don't know if that's true or not, but I do feel like if I drink Kharkov versus like a Grey Goose, I'm just way more hung if I drink Kharkov the next day. I had one more, I guess. Just it's something I've seen so many people do, and I've been guilty myself. Is when you're buying a used car as a kid, or just buying a used car in general. Most people, it's really tough not to buy the car that you like the look of the best. Like there's so many people out there who are just like, oh, this car looks cool, I'm gonna get it. Well, don't do that, because you're just gonna give yourself so much headache buying a shitty car that you think looks cool. You know what? The best bang for your buck out there is a fucking Toyota Camry. That thing, or a Corolla, that thing will roll for 400,000 miles. You won't go to the mechanic shop once. Mechanics don't even know how to fix them because they're like, it's a Toyota. What's going on? What'd you do to it? Because they don't break. So, best bang for your buck, Toyota Camry or Corolla. They're unbelievable. They'll roll forever. Great gas mileage. If you're looking to not spend so much money on your vehicle, those are the 2 cars you want to get.
I'm going to add to this just to prove that we're not like loyal to Toyota, or people don't think that we're getting paid by them. Not to say that we wouldn't accept it if they tried, but Chrysler Town and Country minivan life is the best life, like especially in high school and college. I'm telling you, they get decent gas mileage. You have more space than an SUV. The seats come out, like you can go camping in them. Minivans, as much as people shit on them, I get it. Those things are elite. They're great.
How many Ford Tauruses do you guys see still driving around? Ford Taurus, that little car. I bet you guys see 100 a day, and because they're built like fucking brick shit houses, they'll never die. They'll never die. And all these old people still drive. I had one. I had a version of it, the Mercury Sable. These cars just don't die. They just don't.
Right.
They're built for longevity, 250,000 miles or more. I mean, you just can't beat a nice used car.
No, you can't. So, and I'm all in on the minivan game. That's another reason why people don't drive them, because they look dumb, right?
Yeah.
They kind of look soft. That's just the culture. But yeah, those things are unbelievable. You ever hop in a minivan? You're like, holy shit, this is unbelievable. There's so much space in here.
Tons of space.
In Uber,
Yeah.
every time I hop into an Uber van, it's just like, oh, this is incredible.
This is unreal.
Pick my feet out. I'm not scrunched in with 4 other dudes. It's fantastic.
Yeah. And don't get me wrong, like I get it's a whole different class, but all of these like Hollywood elitists and athletes and everything, they're rolling up to the stadiums or to their events in like Sprinter vans. Like it's a much larger van, I get it, but it's still a van, and they're using that because it's so spacious. It's just your luxury is what it is. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%. Well, I like that. Those are some good bangs for your buck there. Let's move on to the next one. We are going to go snake draft on this one, and this one's going to be your top 3 sports analysis experts or announcers. It could be any of them. Snake draft. Let's start with Mase, go to Olson, Veech, and then we'll go that way.
All right. Number 1, Paul Allen.
Nice.
Not doubt in my mind.
Homer pick, but good call. Mm-hmm. Paul Allen hates me. I still don't know why. I called my celebration a disgrace to Minnesota high school hockey, but I'm going Doc Emmerich.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
Otto.
I was hoping I was one or two.
That's a great pick.
God. I'm going to go with Al Michaels. I think everything he does, specifically football, but everything that he does is really well done and just professional, and you know what you're getting every single time.
Yep.
Consistent.
Yep. That's it. That's also a good call. I'm going to go with the new guy on the scene, kind of Pat McAfee.
Nice.
I think he is I don't know. I just think he's dialed in and always interesting to listen to. I think he's on the up and up. He'll put in a real good career doing what he's doing right now, I think. And then my second one, I'm going to go with Paul Bissonnette, another new one.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. I love watching him on TNT. His questions that he asks guys, his antics, it's just hilarious. I just think it's so much better than what the NHL was doing before. So I got to give it up to Biz.
I don't disagree. I love what he brings to the set on TNT there. I have no qualms with that. I'm going to go the exact opposite direction. I got to go Jim Nantz. I have to go with the guy with the most recognizable voice for the biggest golf event of the year. Like, it's just relaxing, falling asleep to that. Just classic.
Fantastic choice. I'm going to go with a different one here, NFL, Greg Olson. I used to be on the Tony Romo train, but that guy just kind of annoys me now. Greg Olson just has a very calm demeanor. He knows what he's talking about. He's got a ton of experience, and I just like listening to him.
Good call.
All right. So I get both mine, 2 and 3.
Yeah.
Number 2, I'm going to go with Kevin Weeks. I don't know if that counts.
Oh, yeah.
That definitely counts.
He made like all that trade deadline shit like exciting. Like I'd see a new video from Kevin Weeks and I'd watch it. I wouldn't even care what team it was for or if it was some 5th rounder.
He's just got a video of himself in like a Target checking out like word just popped. Like he's in Target checking out. He's like, and then they interviewed him on Chicklets and they're like, what's up with that? He's like, well, you got to get out there first. Like it doesn't matter where you are. If it pops up, you got to release it.
Just like that Biz thing. Like I like that non-serious kind of stuff. So I like seeing him.
Yeah.
But number 3, I'm going to go with Leah Hextall. She knows the game well, knows what she's talking about. And yeah.
I like it. Can I go with a pair here?
Yeah.
Maybe I'll go last. I'll go last in case somebody has one of the two.
I have both. I have both of them on my list. I know what you're going with. I know where you're going.
we'll have Veech go and then you go. I have another one too.
You're going to let me go out of turn. I know who Gage thinks that you are going to take, and I'm going to take one of them right now. I think Charles Barkley makes the NBA on TNT.
Yep.
Exciting.
I was going to do Charles and Shaq. Those two together are fucking hilarious.
I don't even like basketball, but it's so fun to watch.
Yes,
Charles and Shaq for sure.
I am not a huge NBA fan by any means, and I know Gage is. Gage watches NBA, especially the finals and the playoffs and that stuff. Their antics together is just hysterical. When they get in a battle, it's the funniest shit on earth. So I'm glad he said them.
Yeah, they're the best. I think they're the most entertaining to watch right now for sure.
For sure.
Okay, I'll go with my last one. I was going to mention that one. I'm gonna shout out Grand Forks legend. He wasn't only good at his job. He also has one of the best names in sports. Pat Sweeney. Used to work for WDAZ here. Used to cover all the North Dakota games, all the high school games. But growing up, he just had the funniest name. When you're in second grade and you think weenie is a funny word, everyone's calling him Pat's Weenie.
Like Dan Hammered.
Yeah. We'll shout Dan Hammer out there as well. Unbelievable name. Well done by those guys. And then just to throw an oddball out there, if I was to have a fourth pick, I would pick Skip Bayless just because his takes are so dumb. It's so fun to watch. Like how dumb he is out there and what he says. It's like, it's entertaining. I mean, it is.
It's like Colin Coward. Remember we used to watch the Herd freaking every day at the rink. We used to watch that goddamn show, and he had some outrageous takes as well.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, somebody who has a loud personality and some outrageous takes, but is just a little more dialed back is Stephen A. Smith. Like he's a personality that's just interesting to watch.
Yeah. There's quite a few. You could go down a rabbit hole. I want to do who's the worst announcer? Who do you dislike the most?
Oh,
well, my joke flopped on the first one, so that was my worst announcer.
I thought you were being serious. I was like, she isn't. I actually don't think she's like bad. I just think like she got thrown into a situation like.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be thrown into the Stanley Cup Finals like. She doesn't have enough experience. I thought they kind of threw her under the bus there, but
my mom. Go ahead, Mase.
Oh, I was just gonna say I was just joking around, but my actual least favorite is Pierre McGuire. I fucking.
Oh no, that's
he's the fucking worst. I can't. I had to fucking mute the TV. Dude sucks.
But my mom actually brought it up about the female announcer in the NHL, and it's nothing. She said it's nothing against females or anything like that. It's just a totally different avenue that hasn't been experienced yet. And so it seems off. And even from my mom's perspective, who's obviously a woman, she brought that up. And truthfully, I don't watch a ton of NHL games. I'm not a huge like NHL fanatic. I'm not. Ever since I've been done with hockey, I kind of distanced myself from it because I know I miss it like crazy.
Me as well.
But I've heard a call or two, and it's not. It isn't horrible. It's just a different scenario that people aren't used to, and it's going to take some time and obviously some more experience from her.
Yeah, for sure. It is. Change is tough for everyone. Everyone at the start hates change. Like even if it's a good change, everyone's like, "What the fuck is this? Like this sucks." And then it's just like there's just like the iPhone, used to have that home button right on the bottom, and when they took it away, I'm like, "Fucking Apple, I'm done with you. This is a piece of shit. I need the home button." And now if I had a home button on my screen, I'd be like, "Fucking Apple, take this home button out of here."
But I'm glad we all agree that Pierre McGuire is the worst.
Oh yeah, no doubt about
it. I was thinking about God. What's that guy's name who interviewed Floyd Mayweather after he beat Ortiz or Cruz or something? And Floyd's like, "I think HBO should fire your ass. You don't know shit about boxing." He's like, he almost made the nail gun of the week. He's like, "Oh yeah, well, if I was 50 years younger, I'd kick your ass. Right in the ring to maybe the best boxer to ever live.
Pound for pound, yeah. I got one that's just like, I just don't understand the bit. And I'm glad to hear that he's doing better. He's had some health scares lately, and I don't mean to disrespect the guy. He's obviously done some great things, but again, I don't get the bit. Dick Vitale, I just have never understood it. Don't get it.
It's that's a knowledge bomb. But my mom is a huge basketball person, Hall of Fame at UMD. Not a big deal. She's a huge basketball person, but she said the same thing. He's obviously very knowledgeable, but the presentation of the words and it's different. I'm not saying either. But how do you knock a guy that's extremely knowledgeable and that's been around? But I completely understand what you're saying, and so does my mom.
Yeah. That's it's like sometimes like some guys are kind of just around because they've been around for so long and everyone kind of likes them, but they're just like, what is this guy fucking doing? Oh boy, already 17-7?
Not even the end of the first quarter.
Jeez.
Trevor, I told you when I placed that bet, your bet was safe. As soon as I hit that submit button.
Thank you, Veech. Thank you. Oh, man.
I told you. It's a trap.
Well, I mean, TCU's got 7 points.
That's true. There's still some time. Well,
and Georgia started with the ball.
Okay. Well, we'll move on to the last discussion here before we get into Ray Brice's interview. And this last one's going to be the tip of the day: how to keep a routine. Does anyone? I guess I'll start us off. Now, I think keeping a routine is really hard, and when you look at the end goal of the routine, like, okay, I want to be stronger, I want to be healthier, I want to do this. It seems like it's really hard. So in order to keep that routine, my tip would be, baby steps, like maybe not do the whole routine right away. Like, oh, I want to wake up in the morning, I want to work out, I want to take a cold shower, I want to brew my coffee, and then I want to get to work, and I want to, do something at lunch. Like, when you think of that as a whole, it's like, God, that sounds impossible. So maybe start out, just wake up early and, take a cold shower. And then after that, wake up early, take a cold shower and work out. And then after that, add the coffee in, step by step. Don't just dive all in, take it step by step. It'll be easier for you to get there.
I can just piggyback off that because to be very truthful, I didn't have a good routine in college and in pro. And when I played hockey, I just kind of went at it day by day, and I was lazy. And when I was done with hockey, COVID happened, and I didn't really have a lot going on. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to jump in and try and build this routine. And I did it. And I jumped all in, feet first, and I went hard for 3 weeks, and then I got worn out, and I was done. And I do that consistently, and it's hard for me to get past that edge of.
For sure.
And I'm a very habit-forming person, so there are times where I go for weeks on end, and it's really good. But then there are times where I'll take one day off. And then all of a sudden those compound into more days and more bad habits. And so I think for me, it's don't be so hard on yourself when you do take those days off, but just be consistent with what you were doing before. That day happened, but you can get back into your routine. You don't have to say, oh, it's all done.
Yeah. It's not over. Yeah, it's not over if you miss a day.
If you take a step back, and if you have one-off meal or one-off day, or you work out one day and eat healthy, you just have to find a pattern that you enjoy doing, and the more you enjoy doing it, and then the more you do it and do it and do it, then it becomes a routine.
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, for me, and this is just something I've been doing lately, is pick the hardest thing you have to do that day and do it first thing in the morning. Whether it's working out, you have to get up early before work to make sure you actually go there and do it. And, you know, you're not making an excuse at the end of the day or you're running late at work, whatever. Do it first thing in the morning. If you've got, you know, a big presentation or something that you need to get together for the next day, block out time in the morning so that you can get it done and not have to have that anxiety or whatever just looming over you all day long. Once you're done with it, you feel like you did something with your life and you're capable of doing a lot more, especially if the rest of the things on your list are so much smaller. You can get it done earlier. So if you want to be productive and just get into the habit of, you know, getting more done, I would say do as much as you can earlier in the morning. And that doesn't mean you have to do it first thing you do when you get out of bed, you know, jump on your computer and, you know, start tapping away at whatever you got going on. But make sure you don't push it off to the end of the day. Get it done as soon as you can.
Yeah. That's a good tip. I'm going to actually try to implement that into my life.
For me, to be completely honest, I've been really struggling with keeping a routine ever since I got out of college. It's been really tough. One of the things that I've seen that helps me when like I can't keep my routine is to get my room clean, because 90% of the time, if I'm struggling with keeping my room clean or struggling with keeping a routine, it's just because I'm always worried about a ton of other shit. If your room's clean, then you can just be dialed in.
100%.
Like, get your shit done.
100%. To build off that, you know, you scroll through Instagram and TikTok and you see some of these inspirational videos and you see, you know, these people that have, you know, a lot of followers and are successful from what you see on their social media. One of the first things that they do when they wake up in the morning is make their bed, because you've accomplished something. You've done the first thing of your day, and it's making your bed. It's the simplest thing in the world, but you can look back and say, okay, I accomplished this. Let's move on to the next thing.
Yeah. The old military rule. It's a hell of a rule. It helps your day. You know, you make your bed in the morning. It feels good getting into a made bed at night. It feels good in the morning. Just those little advantages you can find yourself in life, or what separates you and what can make you happier.
And by no means am I saying I make my bed, but that's exactly where I would start. You know, if I was trying to get into a much healthier routine than I am now, as with Mase, I got a lot of shit going on with life, and it's tough sometimes, but it's okay. It's okay to bounce out of your routine. But it just takes one day, one step at a time, doing one thing at a time to get yourself back into it.
Yeah, and that's kind of why I wanted to mention the routine thing, just because I think for anyone, a good routine is a healthy thing to have, and I think it's something that's hard to keep up, but it's something essential to being happy in life. You know, like if you got a good routine going, odds are you're probably going to be a little more organized. You're going to be able to find stuff. You know, I was just furious before this episode because my webcam wouldn't work, and I'm like, you know what, if I would have just had a routine and like checked it a little bit beforehand, like I wouldn't be scrambling, or like, you know, if you know where stuff is, you don't have to look for it. You already know where it is. You know, it just helps you out in life, and routines can really help you be organized as well in life, because it's just, you know, keeps the brain focused on your routine, and not, because when you're thinking about so many different things, I mean, you lose track of some things pretty easily. So
yeah.
Well, that was good stuff. That was good start to the episode. Now, I'd like to welcome on a special guest from Michigan Tech, Ray Brice. I think you guys will like this interview. He's a good dude, and we're excited to have him on. And now I'd like to welcome on our guest, Ray Brice from Houghton, Michigan. Grew up in Houghton, captain of the high school team there, grows up to play for the Michigan Tech Huskies, ends up being captain for that team as well. Hometown hero like myself, probably a legend. I know I am. Thanks for coming on, Ray. Really appreciate having you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, so Ray, when we interview guys, we basically just kind of ask them, you know, how they came across hockey. You know, were you playing other sports when you were growing up, or was hockey kind of always it?
Yeah, that's a good question. My parents, no one in my immediate family really played hockey. Grandparents didn't play hockey, nothing like that. My dad is a huge fisherman, and he bought me a pair of ice skates. And when he'd go ice fishing, I just put on the skates and kind of learned to skate on the lake. And actually, I was fortunate enough when when I was 2, my parents moved from Hancock, which is right across from Houghton, into Houghton, and they happened to buy a house right next to an outdoor rink. And it took me there a couple of times when I was younger. Kind of remember that, and kind of learned to skate there and on the lake, like I said, and they signed me up for hockey, and fortunate they did that, and played youth hockey in Houghton and whatnot. So
I'm sure you were pumped about that. I'm sure they were pumped at the time. Their wallet probably wasn't pumped that you chose hockey, but
and my parents don't come from I don't come from a ton, so I know that they afforded a ton of opportunity for me and gave up a ton for me to be able to play the game, which is unbelievable, and I'll forever be thankful for them.
For sure.
What were those conversations growing up like? My dad was super into hockey. Obviously, Minnesota's a hockey fucking whatever. We had conversations, stuff like that. Like, what were your conversations with your parents? As you're skating, as you're learning hockey. Is it kind of simple stuff?
Yes, just have fun. I think they didn't really know the game. They still don't. My mom trying to tell me to shoot the puck more and stuff like that. I'm like, Mom, you have no idea what you're talking about. But, and my dad just, he's not a huge sports guy even. So he would always have his big cup of holiday water or whatever and sit on the glass and just watch. Well, that was kind of fun. That's all he would say really. So he's like, as long as you have fun or whatever. And they were pretty good about it and pretty laid back, which was awesome for me.
Honestly, you might have the best story we've had of how you started out. Dad's ice fishing. You just didn't want to sit in the tent and fucking just skate around the ice. It's unbelievable.
I remember he used to just shoot a puck, and I would pretty much be like a dog and just go get it. And I'd come back a couple minutes later and he'd do the same thing, step out of the tent, take a stick and rip a puck down the ice. So,
yeah, it's awesome. So Ray, when you're growing up, now obviously you're playing professional hockey right now. At what point in your youth did you kind of realize hey, I'm pretty good at hockey. I might stick with this and try to go further with this?
Yeah, no, I didn't know a ton about the recruitment process, nothing like that. And, in high school, and I played high school hockey. My sophomore year, I went to attend the USA Hockey puts on those prospect camps to go to Buffalo or whatever. And I got recruited by a couple of schools at the one. I was talking to a couple of schools after my sophomore year, and Detroit, I never ended up making it to Buffalo, and ended up, well, maybe there is something there. And, Michigan Tech was one of the schools, and fortunate enough to end up committing to go there actually, a couple of years later. But that's kind of when I realized, maybe there's something that's, this could be something, and obviously kind of worked out. So very happy about that.
Did you always, when you're growing up, was it because you're in Houghton, so do people grow up in Houghton being fuck, I want to play for the Huskies, or is it not really like that?
Yeah, when I was growing up, they were awful. I remember fans would go and watch other teams play, and when North Dakota came to town, I grew up kind of watching Oshie and those guys come to town, and Wisconsin was in the WCHA back then, and they had some big time players, and I remember fans would be pumped up about that, and they never really had a winning record. And then when Mel came in 2010 or 11, it kind of turned the program around, and now it's really something, they built something special there, which is awesome. But obviously you're in your hometown, and you think about, I still remember going to events that the team put on, open houses and stuff like that, and wanted to be a part of that. So definitely it was in the back of my mind. I think every kid's dream is to play for their hometown, right? And growing up watching that as a kid, playing mini sticks at their games and stuff like that. So definitely.
So you think the coach was a big thing? Do you think the split of Tech leaving the WCHA, do you think that helped at all?
Yeah, that definitely helped. I think the university paid a ton of money to bring Mel in, and he's a real good recruiter. I think he brought in a lot of different faces, and obviously a good coaching staff with him too. I think that helped a ton. And like you said, that split is a big thing as well. Just kind of helped turn the program around. They put a ton of money, Jumbotron, suites, all kinds of stuff, facilities, just trying to keep, pick the university up and make hockey a priority there.
Yeah, so like what do people in Houghton kind of look forward to? Is it the hockey team or is it like skiing, probably outdoor shit? Because
Yeah, a lot of people like, snowmobile, but hockey is pretty big there. I'd say that's definitely the primary sport. Like I said, snowmobiling, there's a ski hill there. There's a ton of snow. So if you can find stuff to do outside, that's huge. If you don't like being in the snow, you're not going to like it there because it's snowing like it seems like 10 months a year there. So, and then the other 2 months are construction season. So,
yeah, it's pretty much the same for Grand Forks there.
Yeah, just cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say hockey. The community looks forward, and especially if the team's having success. It's the building's full every night, and they're excited about the team, and the community really supports the team there, which is awesome. And the university, I don't, the town would be nothing if the university wasn't there. It's definitely the biggest employer in town and whatnot. So, for sure.
So, obviously after high school, how did you make that decision as well? Because I know people in Michigan, the players there, a lot of the guys from Michigan, they played AAA, but you played high school. Was there another option for you being up in the UP, or was it just pretty much only high school hockey up there?
Yeah, there's really only when I was a freshman, there was a AAA program in town and ended up folding. And there was one 2 hours away as well. Marquette Electricians that lasted a little bit longer. But really there is only high school hockey. And, if I wanted to go away and play AAA, my parents honestly probably couldn't afford it. And it cost them a ton of money and I'd have to move. I mean, Houghton's probably 8 hours from Detroit, 8.5 hours. So it'd be pretty far move for me, being 15, 16. So that was the only option. High school's free. And there's a ton of opportunity there, which is great. And, with ice time and whatnot. And Houghton has a really good coach and he's done a good job there too, as well, which is awesome. Sometimes you don't know what you're getting out of a high school coach and he's done a good job. So I was thankful to have him there and whatnot.
That's probably one of the reasons why you've played D1. I think when I look back on so many guys I know, it's like, and I look back on some of the towns in Minnesota that shouldn't be good at hockey, but are, it's all coaching. Like if you get screwed with the bad coaches growing up, you have no chance. It's
yeah. And I was lucky actually. Some of my best friends that I played youth hockey with, I still talk to every day. Their parents played at Michigan Tech. Three coaches, they all played at Michigan Tech and were able to coach us up through youth hockey, which is awesome for us. Sometimes same thing with youth hockey. You got a guy out there in jeans ripping the puck around, has no idea what he's talking about. But we were pretty fortunate. Those guys were all really good players, and fortunate enough to have their sons on my team and play with them growing up. So
that's so good. Fucking jeans coaching a practice. It's unbelievable.
I spoke at a couple USA hockey seminars up there, and you just sometimes see that. You're like, oh gosh, this guy's like trying to wear shorts on the ice. Like, what's going on here?
Oh, it's so good. Some fucking blue jeans on the ice for practice. Can you imagine? Well, so Ray, it looks like, did you graduate from Houghton or did you leave early to play in the NHL in Sault Ste. Marie?
No, I graduated from Houghton, and then my senior year I tendered the Null, and I actually went to a couple USHL camps, made the All-Star game, and then obviously didn't make it. So went to the Sioux, and then our team actually got sold after my first year to the Titans in New Jersey, and went with the team. And I was fortunate enough to get a commitment my last year there. So
how was that? Obviously, you spent your whole life in Michigan. You go to Sault Ste. Marie. It's still in Michigan, feels normal. And then all of a sudden you're heading off to New Jersey. I mean, that's got to be quite a bit of a culture shock. Like Jersey's fucking different from Michigan. Like Michigan's very similar to Minnesota. It's very low key, but you get to Jersey, and I mean, you're dealing with Sopranos, fucking.
Yeah.
You're dealing with,
and everyone's
Jersey
an asshole
Shore,
there too, right?
Yeah.
Like you're driving, you're always getting the bird on the road. So it's definitely like a different lifestyle. I actually did like it out there. Thankfully, I was still my best friend from junior. I talked to him today too. He was my roommate my first year. He ended up coming my second year as well too. And we ended up living together my second year. So that helped a lot. And we had good family and whatnot. But yeah, it was definitely a culture shock. I think my car was definitely the rustiest car in probably New Jersey. I drove a $1,000 beater with a heater out there. And I definitely stuck out like a sore thumb, but it was good. I like Jersey actually. And, it's kind of by New York City when we got the opportunity to go in the city and whatnot. So
that's pretty cool. What was the living situation like there? Were you living in a billet with a couple other guys or yourself?
Yeah, it was just me and my roommate or whatever in a billet, and he had the whole basement. And we had a ton of fun after I'd committed before him, and then he ended up committing to Wisconsin. I think that last 4 months was probably some of the most fun time I've ever had in my life. And
oh yeah,
you know,
you just dial up the commitment, and then it's just go to the rest of the way.
Can't wait to get to those fucking college rippers.
Yeah. No, we had a lot of fun there. We actually had so the guys out there, they put like 8 of them in a house with no billets right on the beach, because there was a shortage of billets when the team moved. It was unbelievable. Like, guys were always over there and whatnot, having a good time. But yeah,
juniors with no billet.
Yeah.
Where the fuck was that?
Insane. Yeah.
Get me to New Jersey.
Belmar, New Jersey. These guys lived. It was literally, you could like get to the beach in a 3-minute walk. But yeah, that was a good time, and we actually had a really good group there and whatnot. So we made the most of, you know, living in the city or whatever. And sometimes we'd even take the train, you know, New York City. It was like an hour train ride or whatever, and spend the day in the city, which was pretty cool. And yeah, it was a blast.
Sorry, fellas.
What were the roadies like up in New Jersey? Like, which teams are there? Still teams out there in the NHL? Like, you had
so there's that East Division's actually expanded a lot. When I played, there was 4 teams, so we played each team 16 times. You think I hated the Wilkes-Barre Knights? You're not kidding. I could probably still hate every guy in that roster. You know, it was, and then you play a lot of division games. But the travel was actually super simple that year. I think our longest trip was to Wilkes-Barre. It was like 5 hours, and then there's Johnstown, which is actually a really fun place to play at. Aston Rebels, which pretty much played out of community rink. I don't know if you guys, Joe Coombs was there. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that name. And then I'm trying to think of the last team here. Yeah, Wilkes, us, Aston,
I just can't believe
Johnstown.
16 times in a season. That's like, you're just asking for a murder.
Yeah, I actually got suspended in the midst. We played Wilkes. It was like 6 in a row, 5 in a row, something like that. And I got suspended in game 3 because somebody called me a pussy, and I just went AWOL on them and lost my mind because I just hated those guys so much. I speared them pretty hard and got a 5-game suspy. So
love that. Man, I have a Switch too, and when it comes out, it's just fucking go time.
Yeah, I think like 4 guys tackled me in the pile there.
It's better when 4 guys tackle you. It's better like when a bunch of guys grab you than just the biggest guy in the ice.
Right, because then you can just turtle.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun division. I remember one time we were out there. I think we were playing Wilkes again. It was like in this. Well, obviously, you could guess any team that you're playing, and you're probably going to get it right because there's only 3 other teams. But so we play them, and I think we win 2-1, but we kind of played like shit. We kind of our coach was a little bit. He'd go nuts for sure, and we get up. Guys are screwing around on the bus, and it's like a 5-hour bus ride or whatever. I don't remember what exactly it was. Anyways, so we get up, and he's like, "All right, 5 fucking minutes to be on the fucking ice. Jersey's inside out." So no one had time to go to the bathroom or anything. We played the whole game, so we used 60 minutes. We're out there bagging. We did like around the world. We did like forwards on one end, D on the other, and you're just skating. There's trash cans on the ice. One of our assistants was wearing sandals. He didn't think it'd be long. His feet, he thinks he got frostbite on his feet because he's standing on the ice so long at center ice. But I remember a guy shit himself, a guy puked, and a guy peed because we didn't have time to go to the bathroom after getting off the bus or anything like that. And I just remember me and my roommate, like, we're like, all right, we're going straight to McDonald's. We probably spent $50 at McDonald's between the 2 of us and just loaded up. Like, that was by far the worst bag skate I've ever had.
Can you imagine finishing a bag skate with a big dump in your pants?
I just remember that guy getting off the ice, and he's like, "Are you kidding me? I got shit in my pants and I'm still skating. This is ridiculous." And I was like, "Just don't even come in the room. Go get undressed." Like, insane.
You're banned, buddy.
Yeah.
Put your shit up.
But no, that was actually an awesome year. Another great story. So we're down in the playoffs 2-0 to Johnstown, and like we were 2 seed, they were 3, and we're supposed to beat these guys. We had the hand on them all year. Well, our bussy decides like he's gonna go to the beer garden, and like we go to Johnstown, and we're on the road. So if we lose, we're done. Well, this guy decides to go to the beer garden warm-ups. Well, he starts gassing beers, whatever. He's drinking during the game. Next thing you know, they score 14 seconds left to win it. We get done. We're like, let's get home. Like, fuck this. This sucks. Blah, blah, blah. This guy goes, I'm drunk. I can't drive the bus. We got fans like coming up like, hey, we can tailgate home. Like, make sure you guys are good. And my coach is like, are you ridiculous? If this guy goes out the road and kills these guys, like, what do you think's going to happen? This is ridiculous. So we end up staying another night there. And I just remember our coach was so pissed at the bus. He's like, what are you thinking? Drinking beers in the garden? Like, what's going on here? This guy had 6. I remember going out on warm-ups, and he was drinking the tall Miller Golden High Lifes or whatever. And he said he had 6 during the game. So this guy was smashed. I actually went and visited there. I was like, hey, is Bobby still around? That was a bus driver's name. And they're like, no, he's long gone. I was like, yeah, it's probably his last little stint with the team when he had a couple too many pops in the garden as a bus driver.
At least my bussy still got us home in Utah. Eh? Yeah. I had the same, Ray. I had the same story. We're playing in Idaho. I was playing for Salt Lake City, and playing in Idaho is like a 4-hour drive home. And we look up in the stands, me and my buddy, and we see our bus driver just gassing beers. And we're like, oh my God, that guy's driving us home tonight.
Bus drivers are main characters. They don't give a fuck about anybody but themselves. They just get the bus there, and then they do whatever the hell they want.
Well, when I was in the Sioux, like we played in Springy. One like get back from break, it's like the start of January or whatever. And we get on the bus and there's no heat. So like we're like, what the fuck? It's like I'm playing in Sioux Ste. Marie, it's like 10 degrees outside, whatever. These guys think that they're gonna get a generator, put it in one of the luggage bays, drill a hole through the luggage bays with an exhaust vent, and then run a cord from the generator up through the bottom of the bus. So they're drilling holes in the bus, whatever, and gonna run this outlet to space heaters. We're driving down the road. And our coach stands up. He's like, fuck this. Turn the bus around. I've had enough of this. We're like quarter mile down the road. I like sit up in my seat. There's like a haze from the generator exhaust coming up in the bus. So we turn the bus around. It's a Thursday. We play Friday, Saturday, or whatever the series is. And so we end up leaving the day off. We get a new charter bus, whatever. And so we're running behind because it's a 9-hour trip from Sioux to Springfield, Illinois, whatever. And we stop at KFC and Long John Silver's for pregame at like 3:00. We end up going to Springy and sweeping these guys. Like absurd. I have no idea how that happened. And
KFC.
But like
KFC and Long John Silver's. Oh,
it was. They're like, yeah, we'll just pull in right here. The guys are like, yeah, sure, this sounds great, right? Like, holy fuck, you're kidding me.
I can't believe that. I can't believe, I've always said, who are the fucking psychos keeping Long John Silver alive?
Yeah, like all teams probably. They probably have that catered in still for pregame. No,
okay.
Ton of fun, like unbelievable. The stories.
So, Ray, when you're playing in the NA, how many guys on the team actually went on to play D1 like yourself? Was that?
Yeah, I think there was my last year. There were 6 of us.
Okay.
Both goalies were committed to Wisconsin and Michigan State. Myself, we had another guy go to RIT, a guy go to Clarkson, and then I want to say there's one more.
That's pretty good.
Yeah. No, we had a good team, and we had a guy from the Dub that was pretty good. We actually had some other guys that weren't like great skaters, but really skilled. They just couldn't probably keep up in D1, honestly, and went on to become pretty good D3 players, honestly. So we had a good team, and we came out of the gates. I remember that second year, like we were so good. We won the showcase, and we thought we were, going to do pretty well, and we kind of just had a hiccup the second half of the year, but we did have a good team there, and you know, it was a fun group of guys too.
And you said you committed that your second year?
Yeah, my second year. So I was actually, my coach brings me in one day. He's like, "Hey, we're like, Des Moines called and they wanted to trade for you in the USHL." And I was like, "Yeah, okay." He's like, "You need to think on it, whatever." And I'd been talking to a couple schools, and I called them, and I ended up calling Tech, and they're like, "Well, we have a spot for you. You know, we want you to come here, blah, blah, blah." And that's, you know, that's in a roundabout way. I was like, "Well, yeah, I want to be there too." And I ended up kind of committing there in that conversation. So,
oh, nice.
Kind of just came up, you know, I wasn't really expecting them to say that or whatever. Just kind of happened that way. So, and I ended up officially committing like 2 weeks later or whatever.
So you come back home. You come back home. You get onto campus. What's going through your head? You know.
Yeah, it's just, you know, I obviously thinking hockey, right? And you know, 20-year-old freshman. I lived at home all 4 years, which was pretty cool. And you know, I was thankful for my parents, and my mom always made sure I had meals cooked, and she would do my laundry and stuff like that, which is pretty sick.
That's unreal.
But yeah, so you know, the campus is, you know, it's what you expect out of an engineering campus. It's a little bit smaller. You know, I did enjoy my time there, and I studied civil engineering. I thought like the professors were unbelievable there and whatnot. You know, I actually really like the school itself as well. So, which was awesome.
Yeah, that's a really good school up there. Like, yeah, I can imagine, you know, when you go to Michigan Tech, I know it's a really good school. Like, it's got to be, you know, some guys are kind of there to go to school versus, you know, you got a NODAC where we played, obviously, and no one's going there for school because the school sucks. So,
yeah, but you guys, fuck, that setup is sick there.
Yeah, it's yeah.
It is nice.
You know, you go on your visit and whatever, and it's like, holy shit, this is unreal. And then you get there, and that first weekend, it's like, holy fuck, this is real.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I remember, and I actually, like, my freshman year, I like, so the coaching staff kind of requires the guys to be there for track A, which is like the first half of the semesters or whatever. So I actually was able to work out, and I was there, you know, from May on, really. So it was cool for me to just like get to know the guys and hang out with them throughout the summer. And guys stay up there all summer because the summers are the best part about Houghton. So
yeah,
that was actually awesome for me that they did that. They allowed me to do that, and that I think that helped me a lot too. Just, you know, with my strength base and whatnot, and just getting to be around the guys. So that was nice.
Do a lot of guys stick around there for summers? Being
so there was always the same crew because they stayed around for one summer, and they're like, "Oh my god, that was so much fun! Like, I want to do that again." So, it seemed like the guys with girlfriends and whatnot like went back home, but like the single guys, it seemed like stayed up for track B, and honestly, track B was so much fun. It was a little bit more laid back. We all worked hockey camp. They have a pretty big hockey camp there, actually.
Yeah,
in the month of July, and it was those summers were unbelievable. And like I said, you get the same guys coming back and whatnot.
For sure.
Want to be up there for the summer, which is cool. So nice for me. So they're not just hanging out by myself, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I was just going to say, so what's the day in the life? So North Dakota, we had classes in the mornings, and then we had practice kind of midday, and then you could have night classes or whatever. Like what was kind of your schedule? Was it the same all 4 years? Did it switch?
Yeah, it was pretty similar. So it's you kind of Monday and Wednesday we kind of do, you know, like a weight group or whatever in the morning. So you'd have your groups or whatever, depending on class time. You're in there for 30 minutes. I'm sure you guys are familiar with that stuff. And then we practice at 3:30. So you can have practice. Some guys actually had class until 3:20 or whatever, and we go on 10 minutes later. And then you can have class from 5:30 on. So really you just couldn't have classes from 4 to 5 or 3:30 to 5, whatever, depending on the day. But yeah, probably pretty similar to you guys and what most schools do. Honestly, I'd prefer a little bit earlier, like 11 o'clock would have been sick.
Yeah.
You know, you're kind of done, and then you can focus on your studies because you get out of the rink, sometimes it's 6, 7 o'clock almost. And you're like, shit, I still gotta do schoolwork.
Last thing you want to do is fucking homework or something.
Yeah.
Or something.
And you're gassed, you bagger practice on a Tuesday or whatever.
Do you remember what time we were on for practice? It's changed a couple of years, didn't it? Because the coaches were like, you know what, we used to practice at this time in 2010, and we scored, 4.6 goals per game. So we're going to bring it back to that time, like they're getting all into it.
I remember the last couple of years we were, I truthfully don't remember freshman year what time we practiced at, but the last couple of years it was like after lunch, because they'd have lunch out ready and then we'd practice and then we'd have dinner right after. So it was right at that like 2:00 spot.
Yeah.
Ferris State used to practice at 6 a.m.
Oh no.
No. That's been changed, but like imagine that. That sounds horrible.
How brutal would your practices be? Like, you're not getting better all year if you're practicing at 6 a.m.
Yeah.
That's
you're just first 30 minutes you're still trying to wake up,
fucking brutal.
That sounds horrible.
Ray, did you guys ever skate, have the ice outside of practice where you guys work on skills and shit? Or
yeah, so we did some skill work, like my last couple of years they really like got into it more, and which is good. We do, like, they'd have a sign up on the board. It's always optional, whatever, depending on class times, 8 a.m., 9 a.m. ice. I actually, when like before I start, I go and skate in their skill sessions still, just to kind of stay ready for camp and whatnot. But yeah, they'll do that, like optional ice and skill shooting. Some of them are baggers though, and you're like, wow, I got to fucking practice still. Like I'm burnt up from this morning, but no, they were good. And just trying to work on those individual skills, because a lot of college practices system work, right? So
yeah, for sure. So Ray, I noticed, obviously you're captain your senior year. Your freshman year, it looks like you only played one game. It's kind of a similar route I had. I didn't play much my freshman year at all, and then happened to be a leader on the team later in the day. So, I know how tough that freshman year can get when you're not playing. I don't know if you were injured or not, but just being out of the lineup is tough, and you obviously stuck with it and then ended up being a captain of the team. So
yeah, that year was tough. I ended up playing 3 shifts. I'll get to that, but at the start of the year, like, I didn't know what to expect. I kind of thought they kind of told me, and know myself as a player, obviously too. The jump from the Null to Division I was pretty big. Just trying to get acclimated with the speed and stuff. And I thought as the months went on, and getting in November, I'm about to play in Alaska. We had some injuries and whatnot, and I'm doing a 2-on-1 drill, and I toe picked so hard in the crease and drilled my ribs off the post. So I didn't end up playing in Alaska, and that would probably have been a good spot to have your first game. You're not so nervous. It's like a library when you play up there. So we but it was good though. Like I always knew that I wasn't going to play. So like Fridays and Saturdays, like I could always work out. I could work out during the week. I'd work on those like scratch skates were great for me, and the coaches were really good to me and helping me like get better and telling me things I needed to work on, and so that was really helpful. And then I got into a game in January. It was January 20th. I still remember it. And, I didn't expect to play. I'm in class and guys, calling me like, you're in. I was like, well, I don't know what the hell is going through his head. Like, I haven't been in all year. Like, I didn't expect it. I didn't expect. But I get, I had 3 shifts. I think I had 2 shots. I felt like I was playing really well. And I cut the blue line. There's like kind of an offsides play. And Carter Fogeth on Mankato murders me.
That guy
is scary.
Kind of blindside. Like I'm cutting across and he kind of blindsides me. I don't remember it. I seen the clip, a couple of times. And it kind of funny. I don't remember this either. And the trainer comes out, and there was a day that Trump got inaugurated. And they come out and they're like, "Who's the president?" And one of the equipment guys asked me to help me off the ice, whatever. And I was like, Glenn Mraz, he's the president of the university. And they're like, you're not wrong, but like they're like of the United States, and it was dead silent. Apparently, I just screamed Donald Trump. Like I was like Donald J. Trump or something. And but yeah, I just kind of missed the rest of that year. Is kind of a why. My shoulder was my AC joint was pretty badly separated, and I was pretty conked. You know, I don't. It wasn't going to get in after that, and that we had a really good team, honestly, too. So, which is tough to crack a lineup in a good roster.
I remember that squad in 16, 17. You guys were really good that year.
Yeah, our decor was like unbelievable.
Yeah,
a lot of guys with a lot of pro games.
Remind me some of those guys. I know Cliff Watson was one of them, but
yeah. So our D would have been like Cliff Watson, Mitch Ranke, show games.
Yep.
Mark Ock, Dane Burks. Mark is still playing. Dane played a little bit in the Coast in the American League, and then Matt Roy and Shane Hanna. And Matt Roy's at almost, I think, it's 250 show games, and then
Matt Roy was there. Holy shit, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and then
that's a good.
Shane was really good too. Those two like were unbelievable together. So like our decor, and we had another D that ended up playing forward because he was pretty good back there. But like he just doesn't matter who you are. You're not many guys are going to play over that lineup. So
yeah.
And then we actually had a rough start that year. And they threw our like a guy in my class, Angus Redmond. I'm not sure if any of you guys played with him.
Oh yeah, I played against him. Yeah,
great dude. But they threw him in, and you know, he kind of stole the show like 3 weeks in. And I remember we got left at home, and he was like at home with us on one of the road trips, and then he played from there on out and did a really good job for us.
Yeah. What did Angus have a nickname? I remember that.
Yeah, Beef.
Yeah. I
every
played.
time we make a save, the students were like, Beef.
Yeah. He was Angus. That's why Angus.
Yeah,
that's unreal.
Angus.
I remember hearing stories of that guy in Utah. I think he played in Utah for the Grizzlies.
Yeah, I'm sure. You know, he's played for a lot of teams. Yeah, I think he's done now, but yeah, he played for a lot of teams. It signed a show deal right after his freshman year, which is, I know, probably the best thing that he could have done, and just with the guys in front of him and whatnot. So,
for sure. Well, we always ask this question, Ray. You know, what were some of the road trips that, if you have a single road trip that you're always fired up to go on, or, you know, you had a couple that it could be for the hockey, it could be, you know, because of, you know, you guys stay overnight and you know, hang out with the team after or whatnot. It could be anything, but any road trip.
Did the stay over stuff unless we were in Alaska, and actually Alaska was a fun road trip because we'd always go up for like 10 days or whatever. So I had some good stories up there and whatnot. I actually loved playing in Bowling Green. The atmosphere there was really good. Mankato was really tough, but it was fun. And honestly, personally, I don't think a lot of guys did, but I actually love playing at Ferris. Their ice surface is so small. I always
Ferris is electric.
Yeah,
they got the one side, and their fans are just right on top of you with signs and shit.
Yeah, they had this picture of me and my buddy one day, and we're like, how would they even get that? It was a Snapchat. Like what's going on here? But yeah, that was a fun place to play. Honestly, like, you know, I didn't really like the Alaskas. Huntsville was brutal. You know, you got to fly into Nashville. We actually got beat by Huntsville my senior year, the second night. Staff was not happy with that one.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, honestly, like, yeah, I'd say like Bowling Green was one of my favorites. I always liked playing at the GLI. That was our like big tournament that we hosted.
Oh yeah.
I remember one year there was like 17,000 they had, and that was really cool.
That's unreal.
And the alumni, like Michigan Tech alumni, work for like GM and all the big companies down here, you know, in the Detroit area and whatnot.
Sure.
So we had a ton of alumni, which was cool. We went to ASU my senior year. They were still playing in that shed of an ice rink.
Oh yeah.
Went there. That was a fun trip for sure, and getting away from Houghton in the weather was unbelievable.
I can imagine that was a good trip. That's a good spot to be in. After
winning the GLI too.
Oh yeah, that's right where you want to be.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Who would you say?
Oh, I can't forget Northern Michigan either.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Like that rivalry.
Is that your biggest rivalry? Probably?
Yeah, by far. Yeah. And honestly, like looking at other, you know, it's probably top 3 or 5 in college hockey rivalries. You know, there's been fights throughout the years, and we went on a streak where like we couldn't lose to them. And you know, and it continued on. I think we lost senior night to them, but my senior night, but they, like the guys after me, went incredible run of not losing to them, and
Yeah.
so that was pretty fun. But like, I hate those
program.
guys.
Yeah, they've got a pretty good program there too, and I know their rink is their rink's sick too. Like those
and they I guess they don't really get fans unless they play us, which is fine. But they anytime we played there, like, it was packed. My sophomore year we played WCHA championship there and beat them. It's 2-0. That place was like probably the loudest I've ever heard a rink. When we skated out and did starting lineups, like, you couldn't hear a damn thing in there.
That's
you hoisted. Is that the Broadmoor there? Or is that the?
That was it was the Broadmoor our first year, and then there was the Sour the second year.
Oh, okay.
So
that makes sense.
Yeah, that was pretty cool to do in their barn. Won 5 straight on the road my sophomore year. In Mankato too, or I shouldn't say 5 straight. Won 5 out of 6. We lost a Friday night in Mankato, and then came back to beat them 2 in a row.
Damn.
I always liked seeing you guys beat Mankato because they were a powerhouse for a while there.
And that place is really tough to play in too.
Yeah,
it is. I don't know what it is. Like,
why haven't you mentioned Bemidji? I mean, is every team in WCH as hard to play them? Like, I feel like they're the hardest team to play ever.
Yeah, that's a dump it out and then just trap.
Yeah.
And then somehow they get, like, the puck bounces 6 times over everyone's stick and they have a breakaway and they finish it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I'm glad that happens to other teams as well. I thought it was only just us, but it's everyone.
Oh, it's so hard to play there. And even when like, they're always good because that's how they play and they recruit that style too. It's like, they're so defensive, but there's a lot of teams like that. I remember I played with a guy in my first year pro, and he's like, "How was playing Bowling Green?" I was like, "I don't know." He's like, "Man, they hit everything. They just try like." I was like, "Welcome to the WCHA." Like, there's no WCHA. Offense.
Yeah. Oh, my freshman year, we played Ferris and to go to the Frozen Four. They absolutely pummeled us. I mean, they outshot us 45-13. We ended up winning the game in like triple overtime. It was a miracle, but they were like, I don't know. I was in the stands for that game, but I was watching it. I was like, these guys are fucking nails. Like, they were so hard.
It's just like all guys like myself that are just 21 and going to school as freshmen, and they stay 4 years. And you know, that's why we liked playing like Wisconsin and stuff, because like, you get an 18-year-old kid out there. I'm 25 damn near. I'm ready to run this kid through the wall, you know? Like,
100%. Oh, that's so true. So, you know, when you're closing up your senior season there, you know, obviously you went to Michigan Tech. You've got a good degree, you got good schooling, you know, but you decided to play hockey. You know, what went into this decision to continue playing hockey rather than, you know, enter the workforce and put the degree to use?
Yeah. I'm actually, so, you know, my senior year, it ends in a Holiday gas station parking lot. You know, that, like, just due to COVID, like, they pulled the bus over.
Yeah.
Brutal. So I really never had an ending there. And, you know, I actually accepted a job with a company, and within that week, I had a couple coast offers, and I was like, you know, I want to play. Like, it'd be cool to just experience it and whatnot. You know, and I ended up going to the SP just due to the fact that there wasn't a ton of, like, I signed in Kalamazoo here, and we canceled the season with 20 days before camp to start, which kind of sucked. And, you know, I understand their decision and everything, but it was tough to find a place to play for a lot of guys. And we went to Macon and made the most of it, our group. And we actually had a really good team. There were 5 guys from that team playing the American League last year, play some games. So
really
a little bit different that year. And, you know, I had kind of a shitty year there. It was just COVID year, and played 14 games, got hurt, you know, in February.
What'd you call that? What'd you call the SP? The shit piss league?
The shit piss. There's a ton of names. Supporting parents, still playing, stop playing, start practicing hockey league. Like, I shouldn't be shitting on it because you never know, you could be there tomorrow. But no, it was good for me, and I learned a lot because we had a coach that was from the coast too there. Like I said, there was a lot of guys that were in my situation, they didn't have a coast team to go to or whatever. And so made the most of that, went, you know, lost in the finals that year, and signed back in Kalamazoo and wanted to play here. And I was actually am fortunate enough to still use my degree, and I work for a company in Lansing here and work part-time for them. So,
unreal.
Which is nice, and super thankful for them because they've, afforded me an opportunity to continue to play and while still getting experience. And when I'm done playing, I'm obviously going to go work for them for a while. So,
yeah, that's unreal. I mean, you got to, Olson and I, we typically talk about when players stop playing and retire, how tough it is because most guys do not have a plan when they stop playing. It's just like, well, no, I'll figure it out.
Yeah. And the tough part is you don't ever find the competitive edge of the game anymore, right? Like a lot of guys struggle, like your highest high, like you just played North Dakota, like this is the best atmosphere, it's better than the NHL because you have a student section, right? Like you're never going to find a high like that again, and that's why I think a lot of guys turn to substance abuse and stuff like that because it is really hard to find that competitive edge, especially when that's all you've known your whole life too, right? Like,
For sure.
guys, and that's why NHL guys, that won many cups even struggle because there's nothing, they're missing a huge part of their life. And there's nowhere else in the world you can skate up to a guy or a guy in your team. You can't go in the office. Hey man, suck it. Like, like be better. What's going on? Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just not the same no matter where you go. And that's just the reality of life. But there's some truth to that for sure. So.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. It's like, I've used this analogy before, but it's like, if you're going to try drugs the first time, you try meth and then you want to try weed after, it's like, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
You're not going to get that same buzz out of weed as you did with meth. I've never tried it, but I've heard I've seen it's pretty strong stuff.
That's the most random fucking analogy I've ever fucking heard. Please, God, don't do meth.
Well, it's like once you play college hockey and then you go to the minors and it's like fucking busting everywhere and no one in the stands. It's like, fuck, like I've heard, and some of the D3 guys and junior guys were like, this is the fucking best. Like, this is unbelievable, which it was cool. But we're coming from North Dakota. And it's like, I've had North Dakota and now I got this. And it's like, God damn it. I just want North Dakota back. But I can't.
And I'm lucky. Like we play in a spot that's like the fan capacity is very similar and we actually get good fans here. But like our division played in Cincinnati the other night. There was 9,000, like Toledo had 7,000. So our division does pretty good, which is, unfortunate. Yeah. But I have played like in different spots. I remember going to Worcester and there's like 5 people in the stands, like people's parents, like
horrendous.
Yeah.
Just a horrendous place on earth. God bless them, but holy shit.
Yeah.
Well, what do you expect? No one can even pronounce the name correct. It's like Worcester or like Worcester. And that everyone from Mase is like, no, it's Worcester. Because we can't say our R's.
Wheeling, just a terrible town.
Oh, we were just there Sunday. Holy, what a dump! Wheeling. I don't know. Like I seem to like. It's just something about that place. Like
you can tell there's some people there probably sleeping with their cousins.
Might be even siblings.
Yeah.
You're like, I actually don't. We got there on Saturday. We played in Toledo Friday. Yeah, Saturday. I looked at like the sun was out, and I told the boys like, "This is the first time I've ever seen the sun here." I'm not even kidding.
Yeah,
it's like gray. It must be like the fog from the coal mines comes up or something. It's I don't know. It's ridiculous. Like,
oh yeah. So, Bricer, when you're in Kalamazoo, do you ever run into the Western Michigan guys rolling around in the bars?
We actually don't go out a ton, just like our schedules, so hectic, and we play a ton. I actually ran into a couple of guys, Chick-fil-A yesterday. Actually, they're like, "Hey, how's the year going?" or whatever. Yeah. And I was wearing some K-Wings gear or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, we play for Western." Blah, blah, blah. So time to time, and we'll see. They have like their bar in town, and we'll see them there sometimes, but.
Fuck, if I had a night off, if I were you, I'd head to Lawson and just sit in the middle of the Lawson Lunatics. It'd be unbelievable.
Yeah, I've yet to make it to a game there. I heard it's pretty sick.
I think you gotta get there. It's pretty cool.
We're on our 55th episode, and we bring up Lawson Lunatics once an episode at least.
Really? Oh, we have a couple. Or Matt, you remember Acapelli?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he plays with us in KZoo too.
Yeah, he's nasty.
Yeah, he was a stud there too. He talks about that.
Oh yeah,
place
he's
sometimes.
good. He was tough to contain. He's a big body.
Oh,
Yeah.
he's so strong too.
Rip of a shot.
Oh, I think he had 36 points his sophomore year and then signed a
Yeah.
show deal.
Yeah.
What's that like?
Yeah.
Good, you?
No kidding.
Yeah.
Trying to get 36 points in my career.
Wasn't close. Oh man.
Mase, Veech, do you have any questions for Ray?
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Northern Michigan being your biggest rival as a player there. Was that always the case? Like growing up, I know it can be a little bit different and times change.
Yeah, I think that's like, even if you YouTube, like there's fights from like the early 2000s and, Tech, and they played, that was back when they didn't play in the same conference too. So like, and they always played out of conference against each other. And that was, it's always been like that, I guess. And
who has the upper hand there? Does Tech have the upper hand historically, or
I think we just passed them. Like it was like when I was coming in, we were low, and then we caught them and passed them. It's like 78, 77 and something like that.
That's sick.
It's
Awesome.
It's right around there. So they're like neck and neck.
That's a good rivalry.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad. There's I forget which pro team or which team it was, but there's another rivalry out there that's like 250 and 250 against each other all the time, which is like, I wish I could remember the fucking team, but that's like insane how close it is. I think Nodak and Duluth is probably like Nodak 200 to Duluth's like 20.
Is that?
How about in the last decade?
I'm just firing Veech up. He's a Duluth guy.
No.
Yeah, it's painful.
How's your guys' rivalry with Minnesota would be your biggest, right?
Yeah, well, when
Or
Olson
Denver?
when Olson and I were playing, it was eeasly Duluth. Like,
Yeah.
there was the team like we clashed with the most and had the best games with, and like, but yeah, I mean, I only played Minnesota 3 times. One was in the Frozen Four and 2 were in Mariucci, but that series is like, it's fucking bonkers.
Yeah.
Yeah. We played 2 series against them. That was when the league split or whatever. We never played them until now. They're starting to have an out of conference games or whatever each year, and so it's starting to come back.
I got one more. Talking about the upper peninsula of Michigan there, the Yoopers. Tons of lake effect snow. With the guys that were not from there and not used to it, how much of a transitional period was it for them? And how many stories of people getting stuck on the road on the way to practice or anything like that?
We're pretty fortunate. Like all the freshmen lived on campus and the rink is on campus, which is nice for those, like everyone kind of walked, but like these guys are like, you're gotta be kidding me. You get back from a road trip, you left on like a Wednesday and it's Sunday morning at 2 in the morning or whatever when you get home, and then they got to shovel out their car to go. They're like, "You're kidding me!" Like, or the rink is just snowed in, and like there's so much snow at times, and like guys can't believe it. They're like, "This is the worst place on earth! Like, get me out of here! I hate this place." Like I think it drives some guys insane, but like it also takes a special person to appreciate that place. And I think that's what Tech is good at finding, is guys that love it there, and they embrace it, and which is it helps them win games and whatnot, which is awesome. So that's probably, I remember we had like some kids from the East Coast and stuff like that. Like they couldn't believe what was going on like every day, and you think you got it all figured out, your car shoveled out, and the plow buries you the next morning anyway. Like I know I went home for Christmas break. I spent 2 hours shoveling my parents out one day. Like I think I have a picture up if I can show you guys. Like it was like that was one morning. I don't know how good you can see that here.
Oh my god!
It was. That's their bumpers. Like it was just.
I'm from Duluth originally, so I know that.
Yeah,
well.
And we don't get the cold as much there because the lake kind of keeps it warm, but the snow is just. Like I feel bad for my mom. She's 66 now, and she's, like still trying to shovel herself out. Like Brutal. I'm like, you got to move to Florida. What are you doing?
Yeah, you got to
Yeah,
get down
Get the
there.
hell out of this place. You know, I never realized, like, I grew up there, so I was so used to it. I moved away. I'm like, oh, this sucks.
Leave me and then get out of here.
Yeah.
When you move away, you realize, like, holy fuck, these people have been living in the high life. Are you kidding me? Like, there are people in Colorado and Salt Lake City that would complain when it got to like 25 degrees. I'm like, are you guys fucking serious?
Or guys like here, they're like, you're not gonna brush your car off. I'm like, you don't know what I've drove through. Like, I drove with a pee hole. Like, I'm not brushing this thing off.
Well, if no one else has any questions, I'll let you get them out. But Ray, thanks for coming on, man. Really appreciate having you. This is a really fun interview. Best of luck with the rest of the season, man. We'll be following along, rooting for you.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
Yeah,
thanks for having me. Yeah,
thanks for coming on, and thanks for the listeners for tuning in for another week. And we'll see you guys all next week.